Hello, everyone from the past, present, and future. Just gonna finish my little nutmeg. Wait for Gary to arrive. Okay, here we art.
Yes, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. So nice to have a weekly ritual.
Hmm.
Ugh, and
It's been
especially
actually really nice to exactly, yes, coming back to it. And I was gonna say it's also been great having our dedicated times to work and work on Substack and et cetera, and then have still honoring our poetry time. I think what was happening before is like we were kind of losing the poetry time because we were like, oh, there's so many other things to tackle, but like this is the sauce.
yeah, and I think it's like we were talking about in our storytelling on like keeping things from becoming a side hustle and like keeping the things that you enjoy, the things that you prioritize. It's like, we only had time before to either or. And
Mhm.
now that you're not, working a 9 to 5, like we can do both.
That is also right. That's also hugely a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm proud of us. Like we've come very far.
I would say for sure.
Ah, well, in that vein, what are some of the things that you've been thinking about, Gary?
Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna write these down. Let me get my notebook open to the page. Okay. Today is the 17th. Okay. So themes. I have been thinking. Oh, that's sweet. My last poem was the gravity one. Okay, in this journal, 17, 2026.
Oh my
I've
God,
been,
what a fun one.
that was a fun one. I've been thinking a lot about, I've been thinking a lot about death. Death and specifically the good death. I'm in death doula training right now, and we were talking about what is a good death? What does that mean for you? What does that look like? I'm also starting to make my business cards, which are coffin shaped. And then on the back side, I put like a flower, and then it's like cheers to a life worth dying from, something along those lines, which is like a theme I'm often thinking about, but now it's like becoming more real. So the good death slash what makes a life worth dying from, because we're all gonna die, right? Like we know this. um we don't know when, we don't know how, but we know it's gonna happen. So like, yeah, what is important to be done in that time that would make it feel like your time here? Because of course existence is fine and enough, but is there any more that we want to do? I think that's the part, and I guess that's also balancing a little bit of like enoughness, like the survival and the thrival kind of vibe, right? Like surviving feels like experiencing life, existing, enjoying that feels like basic survival, like with all those needs met. And then what more? Um, and then the other thing I've been thinking about is self-forgiveness, a la our conversation earlier, but also just been a theme um, I've noticed with a lot of folks. I notice people's language is very judgment heavy. The four agreements also is a theme. I see it everywhere now. I'm like, whoa, okay, I see that agreement. Okay, heard you. Interesting. And just like the whole, like just the things that I loved at the end of the book, he was talking about when I judge myself, I will be found guilty and I have to punish myself. And if I judge you, you will be found guilty and I have to punish you. And it's like, it's so interesting. And I think the last theme is something we've talked about of like grace and accountability, right? Like, how can we hold someone accountable, acknowledge their agreements, even observe their behavior, but not necessarily pass condemnation on them? And that whole balance.
Yeah, judgment. Oh, I put judgment. Judgment,
Mm-hmm.
judgment inevitably leading to punishment slash grace without condemnation.
Mm-hmm. All that. Judgment. Damnation. And what did you say? The grace with?
Grace without condemnation.
Yes.
And judgment inevitably leading to punishment. So the good death, what makes a life worth dying from, self-forgiveness, the four agreements, and then those last two.
Yes. Oh, yes. Or agreements. Yes.
Mm. For me, definitely messalence, just the recognition that like in recovering from perfectionism and even like this belief, um my brain went to belief in the power of young people because I was thinking about how excellence was one of the values at City Year that we learned, and we had like the value bands that we passed around,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I always wanted the excellence one because I was like, that's for me like where I feel like I'm highly tuned in,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm like, ugh, it was just like perfectionism relabeled,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
rebranded perfectionism. So that's why I'm like, I need the messy to be acceptable to me, and I need to like rebrand excellence because I still believe in that. I still believe in like not just getting something done, but getting something done to the best of your ability at that time. And like the messalence is the part where you're like, I can acknowledge that these parts were a mess, or that like I needed to do it messy because I didn't like to the best of my ability meant at the time that I didn't have my full capacity to do this thing, but it needed to get done. And I wasn't just going to like phone it in. I was going to give my best, even if my best was 35% at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest is mess. But that's included in like you do again with the four agreements, like you doing your best. So messalence is for sure coming up for me. And then I haven't thought of any others past contraction. And I started to think about like how it's when uh, someone's going into labor and they're experiencing contractions and like that sort of like squeeze and like force is the thing that's like pushing a creation into the world. Because I normally like, I hear expansion in a positive, with a positive connotation more so than I hear contraction with a positive connotation.
Mm.
Like contraction is a difficult experience. as
Hmm.
far as like I think we've all socially agreed. And expansion is the one where it's like I get to just ugh, it's like relaxing and opening. But like the closing and the closing in, I'm feeling like my schedule closing in. I'm feeling with like dog sitting clients, dog walking clients, like the tightening. I feel like
Hmm.
the corsetry of my calendar. And yeah, I would like to explore contraction through like a loving lens, through an appreciative, great, gracious lens.
Okay. I saw this video recently. Nate sent it or showed it to me. He was saying it was this man talking about how lobsters outgrow their shell and they're like pressed up against it inside, and then they have the choice of either being I assume crushed to death in the shell or shedding it entirely until they reform a shell because they're not like hermit crabs. They don't find a new home. You have to like build a new shell. But in that whole time, yeah, mooey, mooey gooey, ucky yucky crustacean without the crust. An Asian, if you will. So so that's been a theme for the past like whole weekend.
A crustacean without the crust, and I thought of uncrustables at
Uh-huh.
the same time as you're like an Asian, if you will. I'm just seeing like an uncrustable under the ocean, just
Just soggy.
doing its
Hmm.
best to survive.
And then I'm also thinking of like it's funny because when he showed me that it was interesting because the context about it was like it was very gendered and stuff, and I was like, I think that's kind of growth for everybody, but heard you.
Which
Um,
which part was gendered?
the person speaking about it was like a growth or evolution for a man is like I was like, I mean,
Oh,
I think for everyone this is the case, but you know, whatever, whatever. I'm not gonna fine. But I was thinking, you know what's also interesting? Another way to go about that, or what my mind immediately went to was the octopus, because octopuses are mollusks. And from what I understand, they were shelled before, kind of like the inside of an oyster came out and then figured out how to evolve into the being that an octopus is. So like there are two ways to go about it, right? You can like kind of hone in, kind of like in a tree in winter, right? You're kind of pulling in all your energy toward the roots to build your new shell. Or you can also go out into the brave new world, mooey gooey, and then become one of the most formidable creatures in the world. Um, so I was just like, that's very interesting when you should lose your shell, the choices that are available to us. So love that. Love these topics. Very juicy. Okay, so to recap, we have death, the good death, living a life worth dying from, survival, thrival, self-forgiveness, four agreements, judgment inevitably leading to punishment, grace without condemnation, messalence, recovery from perfectionism and excellence culture, which is rebranded perfectionism, the acknowledgement and acceptance of the necessity of mess. Also hearing, I think self-forgiveness is definitely one, so I'm gonna write that down already. Because when you said recognition that I didn't have the full capacity before, it makes me think of that. Like you needed that portion to get to that portion. And then contraction, the birth squeeze slash force, pushing a creation into the world. Um, contrasted with like the opening of expansion with the tightening of contraction and trying to appreciate that through a loving lens. So I feel like grace without condemnation kind of comes up, or like grace in the mess.
yes.
And
Grace for the mess.
yes, grace for the mess. Let's see what else we have.
And self-forgiveness was good too.
Yeah. So far, it feels like the strongest themes without having to bend anything is self-forgiveness, grace for the mess. Let's see.
And I would say because we've both tapped into like death and birth, like
Mhm.
the forces of the life cycle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The forces of the life cycle, which makes me think also creation.
The life slash creation cycle. Yeah, that's what I'll put.
Yeah,
I like that.
beautiful. So cool, always how, yeah, I was like, right, I am over here talking about, I mean, usual death, and then you talking about life and contraction. I'm like, huh. Also, death definitely has a contraction for sure. It's, and I think it has more of that connotation of, because it's definitely an expansion, right? It's like your soul expanding beyond your body until it's a part of all the stuff. But I think most people look at it as like, ugh, like a, yeah,
Like a
yeah,
shutting
yeah, yeah.
down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so self-forgiveness, grace for the mess, the forces of the life creation cycle.
Yes.
That sounds solid to me.
For
That's a whole lot, a lot of.
the whole, it's a whole. It's a whole, it's a portal.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Let me before we do that, let me share that in the thread. Okay. Connective tissue slash prompt for today. Also, I have an idea, as I often do. We need to have like a master idea. Actually, I guess that's what the Trello board is good for. Um, I feel like we should find a way to share I think these prompts being shared in places would be really great. Like I don't use TikTok, but this would be a TikTok thing. Or like I'm not really on Instagram, but this would be the thing. It's like all these places where I'm not necessarily on, but that's I think this is the way that people can easily engage at other points too. Not necessarily having to be live with us.
yeah, it's funny, like talking with my grandma maybe yesterday about how like we're getting back into the swing of things with RIP and like kind of like building momentum again. And she was like, why don't you guys put some stuff on TikTok and read your poems on TikTok? And I was like, Grandma, you just know everything, don't you?
Truly, if the grandmas are saying it, honestly, we're out of touch seemingly.
And she was like, and I don't know anything about TikTok, but
But it's a thing. Yep.
but even the grandmas know that TikTok's where it's at or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited that we're like podcasting now so we can expand through those portals and also
Hmm.
like figuring out what we can put on YouTube so that people can experience this and hear just the poems and or like be able to watch asynchronously so that they can like attend these sort of gatherings and be a part of the process. um yeah, and like what what that could look like, because I agree, I just feel like getting to like share themes and have like a lot of people tap in at once is has always been like the most exciting thing about having more than just you and I. Like you and I were like, this is really great that we're doing this.
Yeah.
This is awesome. But as soon as we started adding more people, we were like, okay, the proof is in the. I just went through our starred messages because I was like signing into our Gmail and I was like, what's our what's our password again? It's something with a okay, I remember. But then I saw another message of like our thorns and roses from our very first like recorded course, like
Hmm.
the first session from our course, and one of your roses was the proof is in this pudding here. Like it's just it's lovely to have that kind of like reiterated to us of like this isn't just a powerful process that works for us, it works for everybody. Like it's
Hmm.
it's working.
It's
It does
working.
what we think it does.
Right. Right, right, right. And yeah, I think last week was definitely a really big proof moment of that too, because I know my mom and brother don't see themselves as poets, yet we're able to engage and create. So very cool. It
It was a really beautiful moment.
was a
Truly,
great session.
your mom's poem for me, I was like, as soon as you said it's like a prayer, I was like, yes,
Yes.
yes.
I was gonna put it as a separate note. Should I make it a new thread or just put it in today's thread about the Sunday Synchrony? Feels like the latter, or the connective tissue.
Mm, either or, but probably same
Yeah,
thread.
cool. So I put it as a reply. When I'll press, I'll send it because I have a connective tissue prompt for the day, self-forgiveness, grace for mess. Uh, wow, they try to change it to themes for the mess, the forces of the life creation cycle, and then 15 minutes on the clock. Happy writing.
Happy writing.
All right, ready?
Yeah. Are you timing us?
I can. Hey,
I
Google, set a timer for 15 minutes.
I've set a timer for 15 minutes.
There she goes.
It will go off at 12:12 p.m.
All right.
Okay, girl. All right, here we go.
Right. We have about 3 minutes.
I was just gonna ask, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
All right, that is our time. This was interesting. Definitely not finished.
Classic Gary poem.
Yes. We shall see how this was a little hard to write, I would say, actually. I guess because I didn't have like a clear pathway in the be like sometimes like last time when I wrote it, I was like, this is it. Um,
Yeah,
this one was like, hmm.
I had like a path to follow because I did grace for the mess, and it like perfectly landed on the last line that I had here, and I
Mm.
was like, okay, meant to be.
Very nice.
What is that? That's an acrostic?
Acrostic with the letters.
Yeah,
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 very nice.
yeah. Hmm. I didn't get to read through mine all the way back over, but I'm excited to hear what comes out,
Mm-hmm.
to hear what the hell
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want some more time to write?
Um, no. No. I think I need some space from it and then come back to it. Because I do want to share it. I've been using a lot of our poetry time to, beef up my Substack. And I think this would be a good one. But it's not done yet. But I don't know
Mm.
how I don't have it right now either.
Mm. You want to share first?
Sure. All right, here we go. For the ways I have forced expectation with no grace, for the times I gave you no rest and demanded performance, for prodding your belly and pinching your fat, rich with judgment, devoid of admiration, for bending and folding you, forcing you into spaces you had long outgrown, for digging up your seeds, exposing and killing your tender roots. I am sorry. Tarnished promises, rose-petaled disappointment, where I make my bed, lay my head, next to pain, I dare not dream, lest this crack in my confidence complete. Despair tucks me in, sorrow turns out the light, self-loathing tells me yet another bedtime story. Waking up, a curse for the brokenhearted. I long to feel alive, breathe in God with each glance, feel, really feel the sun's kisses on my skin, laugh in flowers, play on the sands, no qualms for the gritty mess, glitter with the memory of fun had, love felt, joy tasted. And this would not be without you, is where I ended. I was going down a different path there. Available for all feedback.
All feedback. The first part, up until I'm sorry, feels complete, like a complete poem, two separate
Hmm.
poems. That for me is like, you could post that now.
Yeah, that one is done. Thank
That's very good.
you, thank you.
Yeah. I think because I was like tuning into like how I was trying to like figure out how they connect
Hmm.
to each other or how they're like cohesive. I like lost track of like the first few lines. Can you read the second portion again?
Yep. Okay. Tarnished promises, rose-petaled disappointment, where I make my bed, lay my head, next to pain, I dare not dream, lest this crack in my confidence complete. Despair tucks me in, sorrow turns off the light, self-loathing tells me yet another bedtime story. Waking up, a curse for the brokenhearted. That was that second portion. And then technically, so for context, I was using Ho'oponopono to guide it. So that's why I'm sorry is complete. The
I'm
second portion is
sorry.
the please forgive me. And then I was getting into the thank you portion. And then I was gonna wrap up with I love you, but the I love you is not complete yet. But yeah. So what I just read, the second part was the please forgive me. Like, hey,
Okay. Okay.
yes.
Okay, the context helps.
You're right, right.
Yes. Yeah, because I was like, that everything up through I'm sorry is like solid. Yeah. I loved sorrow turns off the light and self-loathing what? What's that?
Tells me yet another bedtime story.
Uh, ah.
Yeah.
and knowing too that that's like the forgiveness portion, it's like that was the part that I felt strongest. I was like, ooh, I love that they're personifying like certain qualities or emotions. And it's because like forgiveness is a quality slash emotion that you know that you render through. And yeah, I love I love the like leaning into of that for that section. Can you read the third section again too, please?
Yes. This part I feel like personally is weakest, because I was just trying to get something down and I would like to, because this would be the thank you portion. And I think
Mm,
that there's more, I think I didn't really connect with the gratitude and I want to change the tone so that you can kind of feel the distinctness between each three part if I'm giving
mm.
myself feedback. Because I feel like the first one is like there's longing and sorrow and I'm sorry. And then there's like, ooh, the pain. But then I wanted the thank you to be like, not from the space of the pain, which I think is still kind of translating through. So
Yeah, yes.
it goes, I long to feel alive, breathe in God with each glance, feel, really feel the sun's kisses on my skin, laugh in flowers, play on the sands, no qualms with the gritty mess, glitter with the memory of fun had, love felt, joy tasted.
Okay. I can see how when you read it the first time, the I long to feel part at the beginning of this section felt like a transition, felt like a
Mm-hmm.
transition, but I it didn't feel different enough because of the like the structure that you used for like the for this, I'm sorry. Like it didn't have the same kind of like parallel structure.
Right.
And yeah, I
Ooh.
loved I was like there's something in this part too that I love too. I long to what is it, laugh in flowers?
Laugh in flowers, yes.
Ah, oh my gosh. Ah, so good. And when you said glitters, like I had this um like the memory of being at the Murakami Japanese garden recently and like us sitting on a bench and like looking out over the water where
Mhm,
like it was like little microwaves where like the light
mhm.
was hitting and it was glittering like just little tiny glitters off of the surface of the water and we just got like mesmerized in it for a while. And I think like the laughing in flowers and like the feeling of like sand where you're appreciating it and it's not
Mhm.
like sand between sweaty parts rubbing on
Right,
me. It's
right.
like you're like everything is appreciated. Everything is like layered with interwoven with that tone of appreciation. I mean, you could even like recalibrate the sand part so that you're not
Hmm.
talking about what you're not doing. Just make
Right.
it so strong that you're like this sand is like I don't know if you could find the word from our childhood where it's like that sand that we used to play with.
The magic
Um,
sand.
yeah, something like that. It
Yeah,
there's yeah, it had like that sort of like childlike, like everything is zoomed in on quality to it.
yeah. As you're saying that, I'm like, I have a great idea for how this will go. I'm thinking of like removing I long for and kind of just switching tones again, just breaking because the other one, I'm sorry, and then there's a skipped line and then it begins again. So this would be like a skipped line and then it begins again. And what I'm thinking is, like you said, zooming in on each experience and honestly probably describing what we would typically characterize as an unpleasant experience. Um, but all in gratitude. Like thinking about a really hot day and like feeling relief from the sweat dripping down your back and feeling it like run all the way down. Where usually you're like, Jesus Christ, it is hot.
Right.
But like being so present and taken with like that's the really feel portion of it.
Yes.
Um,
Like enjoying being the ice cream that's melting in the sun. Like I'm
yes,
melting, but
I love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
this
And
is what I
thinking
wanted.
about
Yeah.
even like I think what I would do because I was trying to take too many different things, and I think just focusing as a day on the beach and really like taking all that in, and then the second part of it being like coming home and finding these because that was the point, right? You find the little sparkles, and I use glitter specifically of like because it could be glitter. It's yeah, it's gritty and aggy sometimes, but like finding glitters in your car and here and there, reminding you of all the laughter had before. So this was great. And then your note about because I was thinking, oh, maybe I could use this format and replicate it to the for the blank, but I think I will close out the poem for the I love you portion. Because what I wrote, the last sentence that was going to start the last stanza was, and this would not be without you. And I might keep that still, but like for your, and then probably all the like
Mhm.
shitty qualities or things that are judgments at the very end. I love you is probably what I'll do.
Mm. I would almost think that it would be the gratitude portion. Like that's where my head went was like for this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing, thank you. Like having a but yeah, we all there also isn't a whole lot of like the I love you section. So I'm just like, I don't know what that's
There's no I
gonna,
love you section, yeah. Because
yeah,
yeah, I think zooming in and blowing it up will be the appreciation. So I would not necessarily need to say thank
yeah.
you. So that's the thought of it. And I think I want to kind of take exactly what I wrote for the I'm sorry section, like for your um, you know,
Mm,
judgmentalness and high standards and striving for excellence and like pushiness and mean bulliness and aggressiveness and intensity, all the things. I
yes.
love you. So that's the
Okay.
idea.
You're like building resolution upon where you started.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
think. I think that. And then maybe and then like a positive cut on it. Like I really wanted to include wilderness, like one's wildness in it. So and obviously this is all to me.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, I love this. I feel like sometimes with poems when they're unfinished, I'm like, well, that's that on that. And I'm not coming back to it. Like, sidebar, that demon poem that we ended the course with, unfinished. Still.
Same with my kakakakaka poem. It's like I'm
However,
still
given our podcast conversation about and reframing sin, I'm like, oh shit now. The end has come. I see. I see. I see. I see. And also reading Anything We Love Can Be Saved. I mean that book is I'm on page like 14 and it's blowing my brain. So
I think I've read through maybe like three of the essays, and every time I'm like, I'm
girl,
just gonna sob for like 45 minutes.
girl. So thank you for sharing that with me. I think that has helped because I was thinking, actually, it is fair to say when she was talking about like God is happy, like this Christian God, the Abrahamic one that we know about, who's replicated after the white man, is very vain in the like praise me and me before all things. And I love the way that she said, no, like he wants us to be happy. Like I brought God into the church, okay? We're where God lives. Like he's happy when
Yeah.
we're happy. The vanity is that he wants you to enjoy everything.
The
And
vanity is like he created all these things for you to enjoy and wants you to invite him to the party that you're having when you're enjoying them.
when you're enjoying them,
Like that's what
not when you're
praise,
in shame. You don't want
that's
that,
what,
bro.
yes. And that's what praise should be. It shouldn't be like thank you for the stuff that you gave me. Thank you for this. It's like I'm being present and I'm inviting God into this moment and we're having a moment.
We're having a moment. And the pure gratitude of that. That's what I really want to invoke in that third stanza a lot. So all
Mm.
so good. All so good. And yeah.
I just thought of like with the demon interview poem that
Mm-hmm.
like the interviewer could have, because you're like, not that like you're doing like devil god, but you're doing
Mm-hmm.
like the demon within you of like
Mm-hmm.
self-doubt and like self-destruction and all these things. But I just thought of like inviting God to be within you in that moment, and it's
Right.
uh like we're having a moment, and the interviewer at some point being like, "Oh, we're having a moment," because maybe they're like on the precipice of self-destruction. Like that's like you're really convincing me right now. We're having a moment.
We're having a moment. We're having, cause I was like, where does the audience, because the audience clearly knows who this other person is. So I wonder if the audience is God too. So, because there
Well,
are three
God
parts
is
to it
everything
though.
and
So
everywhere and everyone. So
this is the synapses are synapsing. So thank you. Yeah, I feel because at first when I was writing a lot of these kind of poems, I feel like especially I'm writing them, I'm like, I don't know about any of this truly. But then I'm like, oh yeah, it's coming
yeah,
along.
especially like coming back into the practice after having like waylaid
That's
it
fair.
in favor of business for a while. It's
That's
like,
fair.
okay, what is poetry even if not like unfinished, like beautiful nothings that are
Right.
just kind of like, and this is why we call them threads. It's like they don't have to necessarily be finished. We can just tug on them, weave something and go, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna set that aside, or maybe I'll look at it with fresh eyes and be like, oh, it's complete. I just needed to knot it and snip it. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it can be what it is.
Yeah. This is a
Yeah.
really juicy one too. This is one that I'm like I said, I'm like I would love to hear other people's prompts or responses to this for sure. Can go so many ways. I'm very excited to hear yours as well,
Yeah.
especially since I feel like sometimes you often read it back. So I like that this is raw.
It's gonna be unknown to me, unbeknownst to me.
Beautiful.
Um, yeah, stoked for that. Okay, let us see. And I'm open to every and all feedback. Okay, and again, this is an acrostic, and the
Mhm.
down spells out grace for the mess.
Ooh.
Guillotine chopping my own head clean from neck, rolling away with disappointed grimace. All because unreasonable expectations caused me grief. Love for my passions unsent, earning no applause, no appreciation, no grace. Freedom costs nothing when it's mine to give myself. Obstacles be gone. I deserve a life of messalence, respite from perfectionism's iron restraints. Take back creation's true calling. Heathens circling bonfires, sparked by joy alone, eloping with devotion to the crooked dance. My contract not expired, the force becomes corsetry, elevating my posture, binding me to my word. So I know my limits and don't overextend. Self centered, as in self actualized, where we all must start.
Mm. I very much like that. I very much like that. I feel like I wish I did not necessarily know it was an acrostic because then my brain was listening for the starts of the letters. Um, but also without that, because I was curious how you would do like, are they gonna run into, like Like when rappers end on a rhyme, but then they continue the line on the next one.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and so it was very neat in that way, but very yeah, and also because of knowing where the letters were when it didn't do the thing, I was like, oh, we're still in this one. I like this. I'm curious how it looks too, but I love the corsetry was great. There was a line that you said. I want to say it was for. Can you read the C line in Grace?
Caused me grief, love for my passions unsent.
Unsent. That one. Love for my passions unsent. That one sat with me for because when I was like unsent, like smell, and I was like, oh, like oh, because either way, I'm just like thinking about when you do it, it's done. You can't really pull it back, but the desire to is like it is very much a particular feeling because I think about on platforms where you could not unsend things, and when you can't, you're like, oh fuck, it's out there. So yeah, being able to is interesting. It's like a turning back on yourself in a very particular way. Um, what else did you say that I really enjoyed? Can you read Mess again, the last stanza?
My contract not expired, the force becomes corsetry, elevating my posture, binding me to my word. So I know my limits and don't overextend. Self centered, as in self actualized, where we all must start.
I like that the mess part is the corsetry. Um, Very strong contrast because you would think mess is like poor posture and like but it's embracing all of it, actually bringing you closer to being impeccable with your word and your contract to your agreements to yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting. The grace and the mess were flipped. It's like
Yes,
the mess
no
is
grace
like
is how we
happen
ended actually.
right. Like, well, yeah, it's like the mess was happening at the beginning, like unreasonable expectations,
Mhm.
love for passions unsent. And then the mess was like, I'm going to give myself the grace of not overextending. I'm going to give
Mhm.
myself a different kind of grace than I've ever known. And in that, I get to like hold my messiness with more appreciation and with like applause for myself, like
Mhm.
self actualized, because that's where I'm restarting from.
Right. Right. That's also interesting too. And I mean, this has been the theme. I've been talking about this all week. I mean,
Our
we talked
Maslow's
about
flip,
it all week. It is just like,
it's mind
three things
blowing.
the four things I think I see in people all the time. And after working in anxiety and OCD, I see the anxiety everywhere. And the OCD tendencies are pretty strong too. Death is always everywhere and the anxiety about it. Um, the agreements now. Seeing seeing it everywhere. And now the self-actualization, especially versus the survival. So I bring it up because I feel like in that first paragraph too, it's like it's yourself, but I'm like, where are you? Because you're doing the things, but it all feels very externally driven, or like that's why you're doing the thing, or you're trying to. I'm not sure where you're at. Is kind of the point. Is like something's happening to you in your experience, but I don't know what's causing it necessarily, or like why you're doing that, or like where you are, right? The authentic spirit essence that is Kellyanne versus at the end it's very interesting that it trickles down that way too into this little seed of like there I am. Yeah, I love that. And can you read the again? I was also surprised by the because I was like, oh, here comes the M, and then you were like T. I was like, for the mess. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I was even just like reading for again for my, because you were talking about how in the beginning and then it trickles down, and four is like the what is it called when you're trying to get uh demons out of somebody? Exorcism.
Exorcised? Yeah.
Yes, four is like the exorcism of like
Mm-hmm.
be gone all of this other people energy, there's all this external
Right.
validation.
In
Um,
that case, read 4M
okay.
then.
Freedom costs nothing when it's mine to give myself. Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Freedom costs nothing when it's mine to give myself. Obstacles be gone. I deserve a life of messalance, respite from perfectionism's iron restraints. And it's
Mm.
funny how I'm like respite from restraints, I'm like, but I like the corsetry though. Like the corsetry is like I still need something to hold me up. I still need
Yeah.
something to brace me against my own values.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Take back creation's true calling. Heathens circling bonfires sparked by joy alone,
Mm-hmm.
eloping with devotion to the crooked dance.
Yes, the crooked dance. Mm-hmm.
As
Mm-hmm.
I was writing it, I was like, Gary's gonna love this part.
Yeah, 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 yeah. The crooked dance. I love the what's it, the missing teeth, the whistling your tunes through your crooked
Uh-huh.
teeth or missing teeth. That's one of my
Yes.
favorite lines I've ever written. That gives that too. I love
Yes.
that.
That's what it
I
was definitely giving.
I really like that. I feel like the heathens part was so interesting. Um, it's interesting because it feels like it's a mesh of, because like I feel like, okay, I guess again, anything we love can be saved is relevant in that, like, I was like, heathens by whose standards? It's usually going to be, right, the people judging you. But then also, I can appreciate when someone's like, I's a sinner. I know I am. And that feels like kind of connected. So it's like, at first I was like, heathens by whose standard? But I was like, joyfully dancing. If you think I'm a heathen for that, well then, right. If loving this is wrong, I don't want to be right. Is what that gives too. I really love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was originally going to be hedonists, but it
Mm,
just had so much like I was like, this is too many syllables for like what I'm
yeah.
trying to do. And I was like, and I don't really mean hedonist. I
No,
mean
you don't.
something else.
Yeah.
But it is fun as well, like having read just four in the back. At the end of four are the words iron
Mm-hmm.
restraints, and at the end of the are the words crooked dance. So it like
Mm-hmm.
goes from that like unshackling to like wildness.
So can you read the Because I feel like the first grace ended with no grace,
Yeah.
and then four ended with iron
Or
restraints,
iron restraints,
and then crooked dance.
crooked dance,
And then what was the last one for mess?
where we all must start.
Is start its own, like the final S?
Uh, yeah, it's self-centered as in self-actualized where we all must start. It's not the final S. It's like part of the final, it's the end of the final line.
Okay, gotcha. What is the for two S's? The words that create the S's.
So and self.
I don't have any.
So I know my limits and don't overextend. Self-centered as in self-actualized, where we all
Gotcha.
start.
Gotcha. Give me 1 second, Joanne.
Uh,
Nate came by to see if I wanted coffee. I already had some.
with the bobas.
With the bobas. Okay,
That,
got you.
that's really interesting that you found like a pattern there with no grace, iron restraints, crooked dance. and it could end with where we all began.
Mm.
Because I was thinking of that too. I was going to put that, but I was like, where we all must start is like what it actually, what I'm actually thinking of in this moment.
Hmm. But I like the began because I've been in such an interesting, like, a lot of the things we're doing now are things that we have been doing, and it's like a reclaiming.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
both work. And I'm also, because my favorite poems growing up were, is her name Ellen Hopkins? She wrote like this series about her daughter getting addicted to drugs and having a child. It was like a whole thing. Glass was one of the books. It was very intense. But I
Oh,
remember the format was like most of the stanza this way and then a line away on the side. And then those lines by themselves made their own poem as well. And that's what I'm seeing with this. Like you could write it this way and that final one being off just like tabbed over and then for the because it does make its own poem on the end there.
no grace, iron restraints, the crooked dance where we all began.
See, now when you say it that way, it has to be began.
It has to
So
be.
very good, good stuff.
And I'm such a like alliteration person that I was like, I think it's like we're at the S's back here, so let me just like
Hmm.
end with another S. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, I really appreciate the that you like caught that because um it's definitely adding to what the poem already like accidentally created.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. Also looked up heathen. It's a Germanic term adopted from paganus, country dweller, pagan, often implying a heath dweller, because heath meaning uncultivated rural land. And I'm like, ain't that just the fucking way for the Westerners to be? So heathen really is beautiful, I would say, as a word choice, versus hedonist does have a particular charge, which, like you said, I don't think is what you're trying to get at.
And uncultivated rural land dweller is like a part of the reclamation of wildness and wilderness that's happening in that section in the poem as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my brain found its way to the right word again,
Exactly,
kind of by
exactly.
accident.
Yeah. I'm also obviously back to anything we love can be saved. The only reason you want to go to heaven is that you've been driven out of your mind, off your land, and out of your lover's arms. Clear seeing inherited religion and reclaiming the pagan self, aka the heathen, the uncultivated rural land dweller self. Mm,
Yes,
mm, mm, mm.
that part.
So good.
Yeah, lovely. Like two very different poems
Yeah,
in
very.
but also like structured. Like we haven't we we have kind of like our own um like code of conduct in poetry that we very
Mm-hmm.
often follow.
Yeah.
And mine is usually like broken up by like word emphasis and by like clause. So I'll just like da 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 to whom it may concern with
Mm.
whatever for this reason. Like I'll break it
Yes.
up by like word sentence part or like phrasing part. But this
Mm-hmm.
was like I'm following a path
Mm-hmm.
until I get to the next letter, and then the next letter is going to tell me like what the next step I'm taking is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which was
Very good.
cool.
Very good. I love an acrostic. It's like I think it gets slept on or slept on very intensely because they're like, oh, it's like little kid shit. It's like, I don't know. It can be a little complicated.
I was going to say not if you start with the word guillotine.
Yeah, huh?
And it was just like one of those like thrilling. thrilling moments for a
Hmm.
writer where like the
Hmm.
thing that you're making, the thing that you planned from beginning
Yeah,
to middle to this
it
part where
works
you're like,
out
oh no, am I gonna run out of lines? Ends
and it's
perfectly
perfect.
on the last line. It was just like I couldn't
Yes.
have, nobody could have planned that. Nobody but
No.
God. I see you.
Uh-huh. Very good. Very good. Love
I'm
that.
excited for yours. Like I in the same way that, the interview with a demon poem is like still in progress. Like I'm excited for however many weeks, months, years from now that you come back to the Ho'oponopono one, that you get to
Hmm.
like feel settled in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I think I'm in the thank you portion of my life, which is why I was like, I want a different tone than the longing. Because it's
Yeah.
like, I'm kind
Yes.
of done with the longing. Because I'm also not really longing. But I am looking for opportunities to practice the gratitude. And there's always there for sure, but like, I think because you can have gratitude for all the things around you for sure. And then there's also like when you go places because you're doing a thing and experiencing stuff that you naturally just are like, holy shit, this is novel and I'm really present. Because like little kids can make a little blanket for sure, but also take a kid to freaking somewhere else they've never been and they're like, whoa. So that's what I'm trying to reconnect with. It's funny. I was also gonna write haiku. I feel like it's funny. My default when I don't have like a structure is like haiku it up. But I was like, this doesn't. This will be a different poem if I do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Could
didn't
work,
need like
but
an
I don't. No.
iambic pentameter or anything like that for it.
Yeah, yeah. I was also like, these are long lines at first, like the four part. But
Yeah,
I was like, you know what? It's
that's
what it is. It's
yeah.
not always short and snippy and sweet. Sometimes
We
it's
we both did
prosy.
that this time. Yeah, we both had very like prosy lines when we're normally like more punctual,
Mm-hmm.
punctuated, potent,
This is very good.
very good. Oh, lovely. Yeah, the crooked dance where we all began.
Mm-hmm. I can also so see a drawing of some sort with this.
Mm.
I don't know what it is exactly, but I feel like there was a lot of imagery in my mind while you were speaking. And it wasn't necessarily what you were speaking. I mean, the guillotine immediately was definitely a guillotine. um, but yeah, it was like it made me think of like I guess if you could do small animations on the side of the margins, it's like it was having its own little story down the sides. It was very interesting. I liked it.
Mm. Yeah, it would be so cool to invite illustrators and like
Mm-hmm.
animators to animate the imagery of like certain of our poems, especially like when you get to the demon interview, like that would be very specifically like a good one for like an animatic where it's like you get to see like the pieces of like the energy kind of like enveloping the stage or the sound,
Mm-hmm.
this what is it, sound stage, yeah. And just see what other people come up with. Like I would love for that to be like another evolution. I was going to say the next, but we have so many that we are
We have to.
still,
We got a lot going on.
they're in line, they're queued up.
Yes, yes. I was
But
also, as you were saying this, thinking of like, I think if we were to make content on Instagram, for instance, it would be I would want to probably just share the prompts in our poems. And so I'm gonna send you the little template so that you can get your handwriting into digital. And then it could be that because that would also be great for sharing our poems. But then, because then they're in there as an
true.
archive, and then whoever wants to draw something for it, if it's like, wow, this was so potent, I thought of this, would love that to be a thing that then someone can run with. So, an idea.
Hmm, hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
Also, I was reading about the heath. Apparently, often has a lot of wildflowers. Maybe that's what I was seeing, a garden.
Hmm. Cute. Heathcliff.
Mm-hmm. Because someone was asking about heather, but that
Hmm.
comes from a different source, apparently.
Yeah.
The flower that grows on heaths. Yeah. Interesting.
Hmm. Very, very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just it, this is like the this is the part of the nescience that I'm like constantly reminding myself of now that we're like back in action and we're back in business
Mm-hmm.
is like all of these ideas are awesome and wonderful and like who's gonna do them? Like we have we have only so much energy and bandwidth between us and I'm like I can't wait for us to like continue to expand and then contract by bringing people into the fold,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would love for us to be able to like be on socials and all of this stuff. And for me,
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't been on Instagram for a year for a reason.
Yeah.
And
And
there's
I've been on there
also,
and not been on there.
yeah, there's also like an alternative like internet essentially called Mastodon. And I was on there like a few years ago, maybe during like during like quarantine time where I was just
Mm.
like hearing about things and had the time to like explore them and stuff. But I haven't really been back on because it really is like a separate internet. And
Mm-hmm.
um, if we're like also in the same way that we were on Skiff for a while, our alternative to like all of the Google stuff, like if we're hoping one day to be able to like launch from the atmosphere that we were kind of trapped in of like social media all becoming the same thing, like Substack taking on uh fucking misogynists like Andrew Tate and allowing for there to be AI porn that's like showing up in some of the videos on Substack. Just everything like becoming everything becoming the same as everything else, then it would be really nice to yeah, like find our alternatives sooner rather than later and be investing just as much, if not more, there. Like
Mm-hmm.
create things for that we then like kind of just throw onto Instagram or throw onto like YouTube or TikTok. Just like our leftovers are from this other place. Like
Mm-hmm.
this isn't the
Mm-hmm.
main thing, just so you know.
Yeah, yeah. Right now, it seems like Substack is that portion,
Yeah.
which is great.
And even
Yeah, and
Patreon
also,
is trying to become like its own social media platform as well, or
mm,
like community platform,
yeah,
but more social media
yeah.
oriented.
Interesting. Very
Yeah.
interesting. Hmm. Also, you said TikTok, and I was like, mm-mm. It's they won't get me in there. I don't know. I'm just not into it.
I tried it and it felt like the only like commenting that was happening there was either trolling or just like pure immature ignorance, like literal children who are just parroting things that they've seen and heard.
Oh
And I was
yeah.
like, this isn't, I prefer discourse. Like as I'm scrolling YouTube shorts, I'm
Yeah.
like my
Oh,
scroll there
people
is
are in
so
the
slow
comments.
because I'm in the comments. I'm
And
people.
they're in there. And it's not just like trolling or just saying, because even on Instagram, it's the same comment over and over, or people comment like copying and pasting the same joke. I'm like, boo.
Yeah.
Versus, that's why I like Substack. It's nice to see people like engaging. YouTube, love to see people like expounding on things, challenging things. I'm like, or like the threads that go like 80 replies. I'm like, but
Yes.
TikTok feels like it's too short form for me to ever get behind it.
And it's too short form for poetry. I just
Yeah.
don't think it's like for people. Yeah, it's not for people who are mentally challenging themselves to like sit with art,
Yeah.
sit with creations.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm
Because
like
even
content
Substack is,
creators, it's you're not a
mm-hmm.
creator. You're just like regurgitating. Yeah. You're just
Exactly. You saw the
like
lips.
yeah.
Yes.
Well,
It's like a pumper. That's what it is. Just
yeah. Content pump.
factory
Yes.
versus because I think when I read it, sometimes when I read a Substack piece, I'm like, I can't read shit for the rest of the day. Honestly, I gotta sit here and think about this.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes things will tie together, but yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
takes longer to consume, which I appreciate. Versus like it's like fast food, right? Versus like a good
Yeah.
meal. So
I mean, yeah, my scroll on Substack is like not hours long like it was on Instagram. Like my scroll on Instagram, I could have been there for 2 hours
yeah,
solid and like
yeah,
not be able to get out and not want
yeah,
to.
yeah.
But with Substack, it's like I'll be there for like a few minutes and I'll go, "Ooh, that's chewy."
I'm full.
But yeah, it's like, "Oh, I agree with that," and "Oh, that's challenging me." And then it's like, "Wow, that broke my brain a little bit." This
Right. Let me go for
this
a walk real quick
the synapses are synapsing and I need
and
to
think.
let them give them my full attention, like give them their full energy, you know.
Right.
I'm gonna take a nap.
I'm gonna take a nap.
I'm gonna take a nap, I'm full.
Yes. And also, right, like you said, I do get my fill and then like I'm thinking about it versus like sometimes I'm like because I do remember the things I see on Instagram because now I feel like I don't scroll as wildly because I've noticed whenever that's happening. Like I came here to do one thing and all of a sudden I'm somewhere else. I'm like, I see you, Gary. Stop that. And I'll get off. But like if you try to scroll before bed, it's endless. You're actually not gonna go to bed. It's too stimulating. Versus like I will read something and then be like, all right, to sleep on that now. And like also go tell people about it and be like, this actually has informed my worldview.
Yes.
And like I am growing and evolving and changing, and I really appreciate
Right.
that. And I think it's also like I like the challenging pieces. I've been reading a lot of pieces about people critiquing Substack in terms of like thinking it's this like glorified space where everything is like, leave the go touch grass and blah. It's like, yeah, but also you're doing this on a digital platform, so it's fraught. And I like when folks are like, let's talk about the difficult stuff. Um, it's very good.
Yeah, I appreciate about Substack that there are more pieces that I feel proud of sending to other people and sharing with other people
Yes.
because it's like, okay, this is something like real here. This is something not like real. This is something real. Somebody
Mm-hmm.
really put a piece of themselves into this and I felt it.
Right.
Whereas, sending each other stuff on Instagram, like little
Yeah.
fun swipeable memes and stuff, like it was cute for a while,
Yeah.
but the amount of time that we would spend on there being social and not
Yeah.
like calling each other and being
Yeah.
on the phone or FaceTiming or touching grass.
Mm-hmm. Nate has made a good point too. He's like, I've been sending people like he'll send me things. He's like, but I haven't been on Instagram actually in like months. And I'm like, that speaks to exactly what we're talking about. Just like here, but I'm not actually also I'm not available to receive. I'm not actually engaging with the community. I'm just seeing stuff and then sending it forward.
Yeah.
Which I mean can happen with Substack too for sure. But also like I'm consuming things in a different way too. Um,
I feel like on Instagram, it's become a place where it's like a massive, massive room, a massive white space room, and everybody has their own VR headset on, and
yes.
they're all just walking around like we're bumping into each other, and every now and then we're going, "Oh, hey,
Oh
are you playing the
shit.
same game as
Hey.
me? Are we playing the same game? Oh, okay, cool. See ya." But on Substack, it's like big room. You're hearing voices, and then you can go and like open a door and be like, what's the conversation happening in here? You can
Right.
choose to step in and like sit amongst the fishbowl of it.
Yes. 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 That's a good analogy. Well said.
But they also have a video feature, and I can't really vouch for that. I can't, it's fraud. It's
I've
all fraud.
never been in there. Yeah, I'm
I haven't opened that door.
no.
I opened the door
No,
like
right.
one time and I did like
Oh,
I'm not really like it's not like a scrolly video. I'm like okay, I'm really learning from this. And then I scrolled maybe twice and it showed me something where I was like, okay, this is why this is not working. And I was like,
yeah. I
not for
didn't
me.
know that. Yeah, I've seen a video podcast. Um,
Mm.
or like it was a podcast, but the two people were speaking. It gave YouTube vibes, but then there was an article underneath it as well.
And
Um,
they have a podcast feature through Substack, but I
yeah,
haven't seen any podcasts come up in my feed.
no. I wonder if it has its own. It's interesting. Because also I wish the app was a little bit better as well. Because it's like hard to it's not all connected or integrated like the posts
Mhm.
you can find posts obviously and read them but like it feels like it's mostly for the notes feature that's like and before you actually couldn't even necessarily actually can you write a post on Substack from your phone? I don't
Yes,
think so.
yes, you can, but it doesn't save to
Like
your
drafts
all of your drafts. It saves as a draft on your phone, period. Like
exactly so that's what I'm saying there's like a lack of
isolated.
integration across the stuff that
Yeah.
part is a little bit challenging
Yeah.
um and which is what makes it feel like social media on your phone. But then when you're sitting at the computer, it's a little different. But I'm very grateful for it. It's been really interesting. Also, something you said. This is back to the poem. I'm thinking about because I just scrolled past something that says the BDSM reading list university won't give you. Um, I was thinking about when you said forced restraint or iron restraints, and then still having the corsetry, and I'm like, what I think about BDSM that is really fascinating is that in a lot of yes, because of going to IMSO, a lot of people looking out in will be like, "Wow, this is violent," and like you're replicating the like horribleness that we see out in the world
It's
in your small
abuse.
intimate settings.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like no, it is not. It's forceful, but also it's been agreed upon and like enjoyed, right? Because iron restraint, someone could be into restraints for sure, but if it's placed on you, it's shackles, and we're not, no, I don't want, like, you can choose to be a slave if you want that setting, but to be enslaved against your will is a very different experience. And you can be forced to wear a corset because it's supposed to be like modesty or your body taming or whatever. And then you can also put on a corset because you like the feeling and the look of it. So it's like the whole choice part of it is obviously what makes BDSM and kink such a beautiful space. So that's something I wanted to say before when you were mentioning that in your poem, but just remembered. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that you looped back because as I was writing about the corsetry, I was like, how is this a good thing though? Because like the really quick like micro thought that I had was like, it's been used for like so many years to like minimize, people with female bodies and like having that sort of like shrinking of taking up space and whatever.
Hmm.
And then I just like had the E next, and I was like elevating my posture. Like something that like is I think of like the rod of integrity. Like I always talk about it being like it's an immovable rod. Like if you've ever played Dungeons and Dragons, there's an immovable rod where you press a button and then once you stick it, it stays there like mid-air. Like wherever you stick it, it stays. And that's how I think of integrity. It's like once it's there, your values are like nailed and you
Mm-hmm.
move outside of that. But once you're
Mm-hmm.
in it and you
Mm-hmm.
have that, I'm like, oh, it's like a corsetry that's like keeping me centered on
Mm-hmm.
the thing that is right for me.
Right.
And that in and of itself is a kind of BDSM. It's a submission to like
Mm-hmm.
this one specific thing. But then
Mm-hmm.
I also am like, you know, attention inward, attention outward. Like
I was gonna say incongruence is back.
right. And the beginning of the poem to the end of the poem where it's like attention focused outward, expectations outward, attention focused inward, like self-actualization as the goal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited too when you ended on self-actualization because I think that's where my poem is heading for the ending portion too. Because it the first of I'm sorry things are kind of things that I've done to myself for other people under the guise of being for me, and then appreciating me in the mess is where I'm planning to take it. So very exciting. Yes, yes. Also, people in corsets are, I mean, I've seen some real beautiful corsets. And the
I
when
used to
they
wear
wear it like,
corsets in high school.
yeah, and I'd be like, that's a badass bitch. Especially when you're really in it. And like the whole, usually because the whole suit or the whole attire is very, very intense. I've seen some really great, and the shoes and someone wearing a crown. I was like, okay, not literally not for me. Cause like I've worn a waist trainer before and been like, so I can't imagine rocking like a babbage in a corset that like is actually, and also I'm just thinking about someone putting their foot to like tighten you up. Like that
Yes.
shit is amazing. So to self-elect for that, I think is very, very powerful. So I do, and
Yeah.
I love the immovable rod. I've always talked about integrity being a circle. You're in it, you're out of it. It
Yeah.
is one of the
Yeah.
things in life that are black and white. Very few things, but that is one of those. But I like
Right.
the rod of like, yeah, it's where you stake it. Now that's on you, and that's the whole impeccable with your word thing. So be careful where you laying your stake,
Yes.
because now we will hold you to that. Or like it's just is the cause and effect of it all.
Yeah. Mm.
Very good.
We did that. We really did that today.
Love
Whew.
it.
Well, it's time for Pietry.
I was gonna say the poetry has arrived. Oh.
The coffee's been done.
The coffee's been done. It's been brewing, if you will. So now it's time to be pooing, if you will.
From brewing to pewing.
Mm-hmm. For so if you want to share yours in the thread, you're welcome to, because I put 15 minutes on the clock. Happy writing. Um, I'm not sure how what we it's just kind of done for the day.
Okay.
But yeah, we can also I know we're meeting tomorrow, so we'll get to chat tomorrow about the video sharing and then how we actually want to move forward with the subscriber chat alongside this.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might go on like after I go potty and I come back, I might just like type it up into the subscriber chat and just hit send in the thread so that we can,
Yes.
you know, have proof of poetry.
True. If it was my mom, she'd be sending a picture of the poetry. She does that.
Crystal.
That's a thing that I receive every now and
Ah!
then.
Where she's just like, this is exceptional.
This is, and I'm like, look at God.
That is praise. Praise be
Praise be.
to the God in this poetry.
Yes, and I'll let you know because I think I'm going to work on this poem too. I do feel very inspired. So excited.
Cool. Okay, cool. Yay.
Lovely working with you, Kellyanne.
Hey, same Gary. Love you.
Love you.
All right, I'll
See you
be seeing you
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.